Everybody, day 18, just talking about this is now 10% of the way through the year. So I guess I'm 10% to my goal of making all the videos. I got the pleasure today of bringing on one of my best friends and closest coworkers, Luke Mitchner. What up?
Hi, everyone.
All right. So Luke, tell everybody that hasn't seen you yet how long you've been teaching and what you teach.
Yeah, hey, everyone. I'm Luke Mitchner. I'm a social studies teacher with Terry. This is my 12th year of teaching and my 4th year at Bellevue High School. And Terry and I have engaged together in a lot of the work that's going on around here, mostly through the lens of trying to help out students who've inspired us. And so um, we've been working on this kind of project thing, I guess. I don't even know officially, is it a project? It's a project, I guess.
Workshop.
That's kind of a primer for anti-racist white educators who want to engage in the work a little bit more, get into a little bit more depth with the work. And so we're going to share a thought from some of that work with you all today.
Yeah, so this really it came about when we had the opportunity to travel to Boston for the Social Justice Activist of the Year, which we were co-nominees for that, and honored still to have been finalists for that with the amazing co-nominees. But they had asked us to kind of take a session to develop something to talk about, whatever it may be. It was like that is really cool revolving conversation lounge. I think that's what they called it.
The Unconference Conference.
The Unconference Conference.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we kind of, it's like, what do we have to tell? And one of the things that we really wanted to make sure we focus on is that we are white men, white educators, and we can add nothing new to the conversation for our colleagues of color that they don't already know about race in the class, in education and things like that. And so we were intentional that we wanted to make sure that our audience is white educators, from a white educator, two of them, to white educators. And so from that developed these 10 principles that we're calling the primer, and we're going to get going with the first one, which is very, very important.
Listen. I think this is really timely too, because we're all aware of what's happening with the president stepping into the conversation about NFL players kneeling for racial justice, and a lot of the dialogue I'm seeing on social media and hearing sometimes in the classroom could be solved, I think, if people would stop talking for a minute and just listen to what other people have to say about what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's, I've noticed that as well in my classrooms and in, especially online social media, right? Like that is the ultimate place to not listen to anybody and to just kind of spew whatever you're thinking without regards to where people are at. And this anthem is a perfect example of this. You have a huge group of our society right now that effectively is refusing to listen to people of color who are trying to make a statement, a protest against the injustices that are happening, and just dismissing it offhand because it makes them uncomfortable and it doesn't sit well with them of what they view patriotism as. And so, if you're willing to stop and to really listen to what their experiences are, because they're going to be different than yours. Really listen to their reasoning, which is valid. You're going to be able to start to build an understanding. It's still not your experience. It's still not something, but you're going to start building that kind of racial equity muscle to understand what's happening. And it only takes place if you're willing to listen.
Yeah, and we're talking about that through the lens of some national discussions right now, but ultimately our goal, I think, is for white educators to think about this in their daily practices, primarily with students. Hear what your students have to say about their experience at your schools and take it to heart. Try not to be dismissive, try not to respond even. Just take in what they have to say, reflect on it a bit, and then move forward with that as a truth, as something that is honest in coming from those students. And also from your colleagues of color who are underrepresented in this profession a great deal, as we're all aware. And so it's so important that when they have something to say, that they need to be heard and not necessarily directly responded to or challenged all of the time. Just listen and take it as truth.
And there's certain strategies you can employ to make sure you stay in that listening framework, right? That you're not listening to respond. So courageous conversation has the mindful inquiry, where you you kind of acknowledge what they said. So what I heard you say was, and then you ask questions to probe deeper. Can you tell me more about, when else have you felt this? I am always taken back to my first year of teaching. I had a young African-American man in my world history class, and, I had asked, like, class was going, I heard some side conversation and I addressed him and I said, hey, can you stop talking while, somebody else has the floor? And he responded with, you're just saying that to me because I'm black. Why are you always calling me out? And even though I was trying to be racially conscious at that time, my response was not to listen. It was to object. Oh, come on, it's not about that. I'm not going to be the person that's going to do that because of your race. I was trying to defend myself and object to his truth rather than saying, hey, can you tell me more about that? Why do you feel like I was targeting you because of your race? Why, when else have you experienced a teacher calling you out and you felt like it was because of your race? Trying to probe deeper and to really listen rather than dismiss people is going to help broaden your understanding and get you started on a journey of racial consciousness and racial understanding.
All right, thanks. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So this will be a 10-part series. So you'll see this handsome guy at least 9 more times, if not more this year. So stay tuned. We'll post the rest when we film.
Thanks,
ya.
see you.